Now, the story thickens. The dread Mbizo regiment, under the command of the Matebele Induna, General Hlangabiza, had actually been sent by Lobengula with specific instructions to attack not Chikumba, but the holy city, Chitungwiza. King Lobengula's fingers itched for the spoils of the holy city, a place of immense wealth and untold treasures. But this was not the first time King Lobengula had dispatched his troops to plunder Chitungwiza. He had tried.
All right, so we've got a good one today, a real head-scratcher. We've got this powerful ruler, King Lobengula, who sets his sights on plundering this city, Chitungwiza. But get this, the city has no army to speak of. You'd think, easy pickings, right?
Not so fast.
Yeah, not so fast. Every time Lobengula sends his forces, these bizarre, almost unbelievable things happen that stop them in their tracks. We're talking fog so thick you can barely see your hand in front of your face, lions, like tons of lions appearing out of nowhere, flash floods washing everything away. What's going on here?
Well, that's the heart of what we're diving into today. You brought a real gem this time, this YouTube video, part 4 of Shona People History Chaminuka from the Rhythm in Africa channel.
Yeah, this one's wild.
Ties into all of this, King Lobengula trying over and over to raid this holy city, Chitungwiza, and then all the craziness that goes down when he clashes with the people of Chikumba.
So what are we trying to figure out today?
We want to understand Lobengula's obsession with taking Chitungwiza. What made it so valuable to him? And then, of course, we've got to unpack those almost supernatural roadblocks he kept running into. Like, were they really supernatural? And then we get to the battle for Chikumba itself.
It's a story full of twists and turns, that's for sure.
Exactly.
And before we jump in, it's worth noting that we're basing this deep dive on this one specific YouTube video. So we're taking it as the information you've brought to us and exploring it from that perspective.
Exactly. We're letting this source guide us.
Okay, so failed raid number 1 on Chitungwiza. Lobengula sends in his best, the Dread regiment, led by General Leza. Their mission is to attack Chitungwiza, not Chikumba, at least not yet, and why? They're after the loot, the treasures this holy city is rumored to have, and this wasn't just a one-off attempt. He tried again and again.
And that's a crucial point. It shows how badly Lobengula wanted to take Chitungwiza. He thought it was worth the risk, worth the resources to keep trying. And here's the thing. The Ndebele army, not exactly pushovers, they were a powerful force.
Which is what makes these failures so mind-boggling.
Right. You've got a disciplined, experienced army, one that was feared throughout the region. And they can't conquer a city that, as far as we know, didn't even have a standing army.
We're told Chaminuka was a spiritual leader, a man of peace, not a military strategist. So how did he keep these guys at bay?
That's where things get really interesting. It's like something out of a myth or legend. The source describes 4 separate attempts, each one more unbelievable than the last. It makes you wonder, what were those Ndebele warriors thinking as they kept encountering these setbacks?
So, attempt number 1, the city just vanishes. Poof. Gone.
Into thin air.
Well, not thin air, more like thick fog. The video says it was so dense, like trying to see through peanut butter, they couldn't see anything, not even their own hands in front of their faces. You've got to imagine that was pretty unnerving.
Oh, absolutely. You go in expecting a fight, ready for battle, and you end up in this total whiteout. You can't see, you don't know what's going on, you're completely disoriented. It's not just a physical obstacle, it messes with your head.
Yeah, talk about psychological warfare.
Exactly. And it's not just about being lost, right? You're a warrior in this context. You probably have certain beliefs about the world, about spirits and ancestors. This kind of thing could be seen as a bad omen, a sign that the spirits are against you.
Okay, so fog, check. Attempt number 2, what does Lobengula get this time?
Lions. Lots and lots of lions.
Not just like a couple stray cats either. We're talking troops of lions actively defending the city. It's not even like they're just scaring them off. These lions are straight up attacking. Can you imagine that?
He's like, hold up, we came here for gold and jewels, not a lion buffet.
The video really emphasizes that these lions weren't just random. They were strategically protecting the city, even chasing the raiders when they tried to find a way around them.
It's definitely portrayed as supernatural protection. Like, this city has some serious guardian angels, except they're lions. Fierce, fearless lions.
Right. This is not your average neighborhood watch. Okay, so fog, lions, what's next?
Flash floods.
Of course, flash floods. It's like Mother Nature herself is saying, nope, not today.
Suddenly, these huge deluges of water appear out of nowhere. Their path gets completely cut off, and anyone who tries to cross, well, they get swept away. Not exactly something you can fight back against.
This is starting to feel like a bad action movie, one of those where the heroes just can't catch a break.
Right. It's like, come on, throw us a bone here.
And with each failure, it just keeps adding to the mystique of Chitungwiza. This place is untouchable.
Exactly. And, Lobengula, even if he was a skeptic at heart, he must have been feeling the pressure. His commanders, his own doubts, it all must have been building up.
But he doesn't give up. Fourth attempt. This time he sends the Mizo regiment, still under General Leza, and what happens?
They get totally lost.
The city just doesn't appear. They wander around in the bush, lost and disoriented. The video mentions this day state called Chadzimir, which the local tribes talked about. It's like this intense confusion. You lose your bearings completely.
So now it's not just physical obstacles. It's like the very landscape is working against them. Chitungwiza is this elusive, almost mythical place.
But this getting lost, it actually sets off a whole chain of events that leads to the next chapter of our story.
It does. It's like a domino effect.
They stumble upon Jinjanja in Chief Charamir's territory. And remember, these guys are on a mission to plunder. They've been striking out left and right at Chitungwiza. So what do? They raid Jinjanja.
Desperate times, desperate measures, I guess.
It's almost tragic comic. They set out for this grand prize and they end up raiding a smaller, unprepared community completely by accident. But this raid has consequences, big consequences.
Because it's what leads them to Chikumba. The Mizo regiment, after Jinjanja, they eventually move on. They might have still been looking for Chitungwiza, who knows, but they were definitely still in the mood for plundering.
So Chitungwiza, at least for now, is off the table. Lobengula sets his sights on a new target, Chikumba. His forces, specifically the Bizo regiment under the command of General Lungabiza, they gather at the Shangani River, ready to strike. They think Chikumba will be easy pickings.
Well, they were in for a rude awakening.
They totally underestimated the people of Chikumba. The source makes it clear that these people knew they were outnumbered, knew the Ndebele army was a fierce fighting force, but they were ready to defend their land, their homes, their families.
They had a lot to fight for.
Absolutely. But there was a big problem. The chiefs in the region around Chikumba, they weren't exactly on the same page. The video talks about bitter disputes, petty rivalries, and stubborn pride, all this infighting. Classic case of internal conflict weakening their defense.
Oh, yeah. You see that all the time in history. Internal squabbles make you vulnerable, especially when you're facing a larger, more organized enemy.
And it makes you think, what were these disputes about? Was it land, resources, who gets to be in charge? Understanding the root of these rivalries, it would help us really appreciate how crucial Chaminuka's role was in uniting them.
Absolutely. He comes in at a pivotal moment.
Right at the climax of all this tension, they're having this big meeting, all these feuding chiefs trying to figure out what to do about the Ndebele threat. And right in the middle of it, who arrives? Mushainga, back from Chitungwiza, carrying a message from Chaminuka.
Talk about dramatic timing.
Yeah, he's like, hold up, everyone, I've got a message from the prophet.
And you can bet they were all ears.
Despite their disagreements, they all respected Chaminuka. He was a unifying figure, a spiritual leader. And this message, well, it was pretty powerful. First of all, Chaminuka knew Mushainga's name before he even arrived.
That would get everyone's attention. It's like, okay, he's the real deal.
Yeah, that's instant credibility right there. Then the message itself, directed specifically at Chief Waria. Fighting to restore peace is peace itself. To punish unjust rulers is wisdom. And a pretty clear warning, those who hate peace, they're gonna get what's coming to them.
These are some heavy pronouncements.
Yeah, they're not just talking about defending their land, it's framed as a righteous fight, restoring balance and justice. And they specifically identify Waria as the sun that burns in peace. He's the chosen one, the leader who has to unite everyone and fight back.
It's like a call to action wrapped in a prophecy.
And as Mushainga is delivering this message, something really strange happens. His voice changes.
Like, completely.
Yeah, according to the video, everyone there knew it was actually Chaminuka speaking through him. This divine intervention, whether you take it literally or not, it had a huge impact on those chiefs.
You can imagine. Years of feuding, all this mistrust, and suddenly it's like a higher power is stepping in saying, cut it out, you need to work together.
It's like a reset button. All those bitter disputes, they get put aside. They unite their forces and they all agree, Waria is the man, he's the one to lead them against the Ndebele.
A leader forged in crisis.
Exactly. So for the first time, all these scattered tribes, they're united under a single leader. And they don't waste any time. They start building stone forts at strategic points, getting ready to ambush the Ndebele. And get this, 3 whole days before the expected attack, they're ready. Their warriors are in position, waiting.
That's some impressive organization.
They weren't messing around. They even had this secret weapon. They mixed this war herb doo-doo into their food. They believed it would make them fearless and aggressive.
Like ancient performance enhancers.
Something like that, yeah. So Vendibel, they march right into this trap. And the men of Chikumba, they let loose everything they've got. Spears, arrows, and they've also got these blunderbusses.
Wait, blunderbusses?
Yeah, those old school muskets, the ones with the wide barrels.
They got those.
The video mentions they got them from Arab and Portuguese traders who were in the region. Maybe they even made some themselves. And they weren't picky about what they loaded them with. Iron scraps, sharpened bows, nails, broken glass, even stones. Whatever they could find to inflict maximum damage.
It was like a DIY arsenal.
Yeah, they were resourceful. They had 5 regiments, each with its own commander. The first one was led by Zimudo, and he had a personal score to settle with the Ndibel. A blood feud. Intense stuff. The second was under Gwawa, and the third was led by Karamusa, with Mushainga and his brother Moramua fighting alongside their dad. They even used some clever tactics, like making it seem like they had way more fighters than they actually did.
Sorry. Play to your strengths. Right?
Yeah, psychological warfare again. But the Ndibel, they weren't pushovers. They might have been surprised at first, but they quickly regrouped and launched a counterattack. They were a well-oiled machine, those guys.
Right. It's easy to forget. They were the dominant force in the region for a reason. They had the training, the discipline, the experience.
And for a while, it looked like they were going to turn the tide. But Zimudo, he wasn't having it. Remember that blood feud? It fueled him. He threw everything he had left at the Nbili, including those 2 reserve regiments he had been holding back.
So it was all-out war at this point.
Brutal hand-to-hand combat. The Nbili, they fought in tight formations with their short-stabbing spears and shields. The men of Chikumba, they had longer spears, bows, and arrows. It must have been absolute chaos.
You can imagine the noise, the clash of metal, the shouts, the screams. It's a scene right out of a historical epic.
But ultimately, the Ndibel, they were outnumbered, and they had already lost a lot of men in that initial ambush. They had to retreat. And in their haste, they even left behind the loot they had taken from Xinjiang.
Talk about adding insult to injury.
They came looking for treasure, and they ended up losing what they already had. But the battle wasn't over yet. Not quite.
There's always another twist.
Yeah. General Lungabiza, he orders his men to retreat, but he stays behind. He wants to scout Chikumba, maybe plan for another attack later. Big mistake.
That's when Mushainga steps up again.
He confronts Lungabiza. The general, he's arrogant, he underestimates Mushainga, he taunts him, asks him if he's even brave enough to fire his weapon.
Talk about underestimating your opponent.
Yeah, bad move. Lungabiza's gun jams, and as he charges at Mushainga with his spear, Mushainga stays calm, aims, and shoots him dead.
Oh, David and Goliath, right there on the battlefield.
A true hero moment. But then Mushainga does something even more bold. He takes Lungabiza's zebra skin garment, the symbol of his authority, and puts it on himself.
That's a huge statement.
It was a direct challenge to Lobengula, a massive insult. The video says this is what started the blood feud in them.
Which is a whole other story in itself.
Oh, yeah.
We've got a victory, but it's a victory with serious consequences.
Exactly. A group of Ndibele fighters, led by a commander named Musila, they come to claim Lungabiza's body. Waria, he allows it. But when they see Mushainga wearing that zebra skin, they know things are about to get real messy. They leave quickly and quietly.
They knew this wasn't over.
Not by a long shot. Back in Chikumba, Mushainga's a hero. They have a huge celebration, even sacrifice an ox in his honor. But under all the joy, there's this dark cloud hanging over them. That blood feud with Lobengula, that's not something you just walk away from.
It's a victory with an asterisk.
So let's take a step back and think about what we've learned. First, those failed raids on Chingisa. The fog, the lions, the floods. It's like something out of a myth. Was it really supernatural intervention, or could there be other explanations? We don't really know from this video.
It's a mystery. And then we have Chaminuka, the spiritual leader who unites the people of Chikumba. That unity was crucial. Without it, they probably would have been crushed by the Ndebele. And then the battle itself, a desperate fight for survival, full of strategy, bravery, and ultimately a victory that came at a high price.
A victory that set the stage for a whole new conflict.
Exactly. And what about you, listening right now? What stood out to you the most in all of this? The strange events at Chingwiza, the challenge of uniting those divided chiefs, the intensity of the battle, what really grabbed your attention?
And here's something to think about as we wrap things up. In the face of this seemingly unstoppable force, this powerful Ndembele army, What was the deciding factor in Chikumba's victory? Was it just military strategy? Or was it something more? The belief in Chaminuka's protection, the newfound unity of the people, did those things tip the scales? Could those supernatural events have a more down-to-earth explanation? Or are we seeing something else at work here? Something about the power of belief, of community, of the human spirit to overcome seemingly impossible odds?
It's definitely something to ponder.
It makes you think, doesn't it?
It does, and that's what makes history so fascinating.
Absolutely.
We'll be back soon with another deep dive. Until then, keep exploring.